Mr. Reggae World Canada.
Yeah, big old for coming now, we very good. I like that.
How is the vibes, brethren?
Everything is blessed, man. I want to thank you initially, the song you opened the show with. A lot of people may not know, but back in the day we did a Canadian reggae compilation, and that track touched so many people, including yourself, and thank you for always playing that. When I drive you, I hear the track and I start smile, because it brings back such a nice memory, and Isaac and Friendliness did an amazing job still.
Definitely so.
Yeah. And yeah, everything I go on, you know, musically, we're still
We're talking about Canadian reggae world. How is that going as far as the whole
we're not stop
structure of that?
We're not stop that. Now that them decide to them want to try help out the so-called local people. Them go to Texas and learn that the reason why their festival is big is because they promote them one people.
Okay.
So Mr. Ford learned something, and we're not talking about this right now. So anyway, him go down
a few things.
You know, no, but listen, man. The man them decides they want to spend $45 million in 3 years to promote local talent. So
I think that's a good thing.
We never said that before yet, except for when Sheila Cops used to then a Liberal Party and give us them kind of dollars to grow music, you know.
It's all positive, whatever is going on right now. I heard even Cardinal Official came out.
Yeah, man. Him and Julie Black are like at the forefront of that thing. So
promoting the idea, right?
Saying that
that's what got him to where he is right now. So I think what we really need, one of the things we need is mainstream radio playing the music. I don't think like a tune like Trey Songz Moment. How the heck does that not make it to mainstream radio? Like, how does that not make it to CHFI and to all? Like, that's a good tune. You know what I mean? I'm just using one tune.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's so many others out there that
I have 18 tracks on the Canadian reggae compilation I could have played. I have about 200 more that came before me with Messenger and the Satellites and a bunch of those people and Willie Williams and Leroy Brown and so on that could have been playing a long time ago, but we have to talk about the system in which we live, the system that is set up to block what we're doing, and we need to get past it and stop making excuses about the system, and just bring our talent forward. And that is what I try to do with Canadian Reggae World. So I'm not stop. Them can't stop me. Them can't stop we. And we have a lot of talented people. So come we just run them and do what we are doing. And we don't need them.
Eventually we'll get to that.
See?
So you're not only dealing with that, but you're kind of branching off. I guess you're kind of getting bored in some senses. You're just looking for more excitement.
No.
Three Finger Jack, the spirit of Jamaica.
See it.
And you got like your full name, JuLion Anthony Christopher King.
You love that, eh?
I like the full promotion and all of that.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, you know, when I wrote...
Literary guy.
You're cool, no, I can't take that author business. I just had a story in my head since I was 9 years old.
Wow.
And it have nothing to do with bored or not bored. It's about, you know, everything is evolution. So you get to the point where you have to get the story out. And the thing that always bothered me when I heard about Jack in the first place, there wasn't very much information about him anywhere. See? But what I heard about him and the feeling I got when I heard about him was that this man was like a freedom fighter. So as I grew and I learned a little more because there's still very limited information about him simply because we allow Europeans to write our history for us.
And that was slavery days that all of that happened.
In the 1780s, in the 1780s, this man's name was in every newspaper in Jamaica. The man was, they did plays about him in the English court. That's how famous Jack was. Yet,
but when you say famous, he was famous in the newspaper, but that was the people looking for him. That were he was wanted. And
the beautiful thing about Jack, which has transcended over 200 years since, I guess, his passing, is that, you know, he never attacked women, children, or the other slaves. So guess who did the attack?
Okay.
This was just them. And they came after him, and he killed them all. And that's why he was famous, because he wouldn't back down. So he can't make our history books because we're talking about so-called defiance. But it's not defiance. The man just don't want to be a slave.
And wait. For me, I'm listening to you talk about Three Finger Jack, and I'm thinking back to Nanny, because in some ways I associate them both as being some of the freedom. I can't remember how the story goes, like Nanny Hill. I don't remember how it went, but...
Well, Nanny fought back. I think she fought back the British, because initially the Spaniards Grand Jamaica. They couldn't control the Maroons. So when the British kicked the Spaniards out, the Spaniards did mention to them as a boss, listen, we will leave, you know, but you see them people up there, so the Maroon people, they will not bow. The British didn't believe them. So they went up against them, and Nanny fought them back and beat them. So the histories, you know,
and that's how a few people got into Nova Scotia too. As a result of that, of beating the British, the Maroons, and signing a peace treaty that required for some of them or most of them to come to Canada.
Ship the bad blood out. Ship out the bad blood, but we can't stop it because
eventually that was you know, they had to be sent back to Sierra Leone, I think it was. They eventually, but you getting into this three finger jack. Who told you the story? Was that your grandmother, some uncle, somebody told you that story?
Initially, I heard it at prep school.
Oh, okay.
It was just like a nursery rhyme kind of vibe or something, and somebody mentioned three finger jack, and the story they mentioned was about him helping some young lady or other to get from one plantation to the next.
Okay.
And then holding up his three-fingered hand after she had told him that she found out a three-fingered jack was in the woods and he was a robber and would kill people. And he just hold up a finger and he say, have a nice day.
So I've kind of just glanced through, and for me, it's like I spoke with this sister not too long ago, and she wrote book for children in a sense. Like, you know, I get where this is something that a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old
anybody can read it.
No, I mean would sit and get fascinated by this story then, because it seems like you're not just showing the history, but you're kind of presenting a story to people.
Yes.
In that sense.
And initially the objective for that is obviously I'm not a historian. So I'm not telling everybody that what I wrote is exactly the way it was, because I actually adapted a few things just to make it sound like fun to me. Because I didn't have any stories of Jack, I created my own stories. But if you notice, you know, especially in European world, there are about 8 different stories about Robin Hood. Them have Russell Crowe, them have Kevin Costner, them have Errol Flynn in I'm Tights, them have all kind of people. They tell a lot of stories about their heroes.
Right.
We don't tell enough stories about ours. So this is my attempt at, you know, and also bringing them forward. And I would love historians, which is what I'm working on right now, to actually look into Jack and make him a Jamaican hero. At some point, to really look at his life and say, you know something, this guy didn't do anything but fight for himself and his freedom.
Maybe that might be on the way. I'm sure it's not going all over the place. There must be somebody else thinking that, that way.
There's more information about Jack coming out these days. So yeah, I think people are starting to look into him.
True. So have you registered any of your ones children?
Yeah, listen, man. The first copies of the book. What's family?
What's the response been then? Because you know they're like the judge, right?
Well, the funny thing is, the 2 older ones, Alyssa and Dylan, I was telling them the story as I was writing it. So when they read it, it was like, you know, it wasn't anticlimactic, but they also found good parts of it and said, this is a positive energy, you know. And the little ones, they might take them time to read it, you know, them go read it. If them father book it, then I'll go rush to go do it. If I hear a book, I might read it.
So is there any parts of this book that kind of has any major, like a little bit more significant that you would probably want to read to people and just like express them?
I wouldn't read it to them because you make me run from way back when to come find parking to come to this place bridge. I forget about the parking around here. Anyway,
they're trying to for you.
One of the things I focused on initially was the passage coming across from Africa to the New World. And one of the things that some people are not aware of, and when you tell them, look on you like you make it up. I mean, there's so many stories about the Holocaust, the horrific stories.
Yeah.
People don't understand some other stories out there. And one of the stories, but we had a genocide, obviously, of the African race coming through the entire slave trade. And one of the ones that stuck out in my mind as a child, because I could put visuals to things, and that is also a good thing and a bad thing. And when they got halfway across, sometimes the crew would have dysentery, and they would check the cargo, which is what we were called, and they would realize that by the time they got to the New World, they weren't going to make a profit because too many of the slaves had things. So what they would do initially is throw off 1 and 2 and throw blood in the water and take bets whether they would drown before the sharks got them. And there were always sharks following because they always know there's a meal, you know. But then the other part of that, which is interesting, was that by the time they got further and realized they couldn't save the entire cargo, they would signal another ship. The crew would take their foodstuff and everything, swing over to the other ship, turn the cannons inward, fire 2 holes into the hull of the ship, and sink 300 to 400 Africans, brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers holding hands. So I used to, as a child, vision holding my mother and my sister hand as we were going down 2 miles down into the ocean.
Wow.
And if you can do that, you can't ever tell me that I have to let go of slavery, because we're not start talking about it yet.
True.
So don't tell me, say it's a long time ago, let it go, because something wrong with you. They have actually successfully erased every single bone in your body to look at your life and say, you know something wrong with Uno for want to step on one race of people. And we're all watching them do it.
True. And sometimes even, joining along.
Yeah, man, that's what I said. We're joining happily, you know. We
compromise sometimes just doesn't do it. But I guess people say we have to compromise. You have to be this and everybody's that. But a lot of the times we end up being the one that lose out. Which is a weird kind of thing. Unless we kind of stand up and try and find ways.
Well, the thing is education. Education can't be just of the black race. Education is for all races.
True.
Nobody, they want to talk about peace and love. I know I hear about peace and love. You know, see, go talk to the Rastaman them tell you equal rights and justice.
True.
That is all you need. If you give somebody the same rights you have and justice for the crimes that are committed, you don't have to talk about no peace. We don't have to get along. We just have to respect each other.
Well, I respect the vibes that you're bringing. You know, I kind of personally, and I'll tell you this, I get too pissed when I think about slavery.
Me too.
A lot of the times, I just say,
me too.
I'll leave it alone, because I've read so many of the books that I remember this friend of mine keeps trying to give me history books of slavery, and I had to tell her, I said, look man, don't give me no more of those books. All you're doing is getting me ticked off, because, you know, especially when white people give you books of slavery, like
they might educate you
they're trying to teach you about stuff that they don't even know close how that feels.
There's an inherent
but they have this, and I'm not knocking them, because it's to them it's a good thing. They're trying to help, but man, stop giving black people books on slavery. Nobody wants it.
It's an inherent pain that they don't even understand.
There you go. It's just, we're not knocking anybody and not knocking any races, trust me.
We need to educate all races.
Street Finger Jack, the Spirit of Jamaica. Where is it available?
I have it in, you see that, I meant to take off my glasses. I'm talking to it's a different book list ambassadors. They're already doing it, so it's just a matter of taking product there. But where it is currently is actually on my website. You can purchase it directly from me, and when you get on there, the information is there, CanadianReggaeWorld.com, and you check the contact section. And also, for those of you who live in Parkdale, the River Trading Company, 1418 Queen Street, is currently carrying the book right now. And then when we get famous now, you know, chapters will call me up and, you know, we get famous and I write the sign autograph.
Looking forward to that one, Reggie.
More than anything else, Patrick, I thank you for this, and I ask you to send it to children, send it to teenagers. I would love teenagers to read it.
Yeah, I think this is one of those books that, you know, a lot of youths can pick up on, and nice bedtime stories.
It has a couple of risky spots with the girl and the guy business.
Parents can kind of
censor that. It's nothing out there, but, you know, it is all part of life.
Thank you again, Bridger.
Thank you for the time, my brother.
All right.
For the time, my brother.
All right.
For the time.